Okay, guys, don't forget to boop that like button, boop, and Cookie will get a treat. Welcome back to Flying Tiles Academy. You got a little look at my puppy there. Her name is Cookie. She's half poodle and half schnauzer, so she's a schnoodle. You'll probably be seeing her every once in a while just because I think she's so cute and so adorable. What we're doing here is we've poured the tiles out on the table and I'm turning them over so that they're face down and nobody can see what they are. And after you turn them over, what I'll be doing is just mixing them, and that is called washing the tiles. The clacking of the tiles is really a nice sound. Back in the 1800s, I think, when the game got its name Mahjong, it was because the tiles that they used then sounded like sparrows chirping. So Mahjong means little sparrows, and ergo, that's how the name came into existence. So it was really with the tiles. Now, the tiles probably back then sounded very different. They were probably made of bone. Some were made of ivory, but back in the day, they were made of bone and bamboo. So they probably did sound very different. The Charleston is unique to American Mah Jongg. When Babcock brought over Mahjong from China, he didn't think that the Americans could play it. He thought that the game was too complicated. So things were changed to Americanize or Westernize Mahjong. And this is one of the things that was brought in, was this, the way we pass the tiles in the Charleston to help with our hand refinement. And the Charleston received its name back in the 20s from the actual dance, the Charleston, when that was very popular then. I don't know how to dance the Charleston, but I don't know if the moves in the Charleston are similar or what. Anyhow, there could be a correlation there. So I'm washing the tiles right now, mixing them around. And I'm not doing it too aggressively because these are vintage tiles. Plus, I'm using a felt mat, and I really like this mat, but it doesn't move as slick as a neoprene mat. So I'm building the wall here, and it's going to be 19 tiles long and 2 tiles high. A wall will be built like this in front of every single rack, so there'll be 38 tiles. You do the Charleston with 4 people. If there's less than 4 people, you do not do the Charleston. If there's 3 people, you don't do the Charleston. And 2 people, when you play with 2 people, you don't do the Charleston either. With that said, some people do the Charleston when there's 3 people, but that would be a house rule. Just so you know that with 3 people, as per the National Mahjong League, you do not do the Charleston. I will see you in the next segment. So we have all the tiles washed and we have them in their rows, 19 across, double. So that's 19, which is 38, 38, 38, 38. And I am east. Now, normally you roll the dice to see who's east. So everybody rolls the dice in 12. And whoever gets the highest number is usually east, but we're just going to say I'm east. Sometimes the host is east. Who's ever hosting the Mahjong game, they begin with East. And East is known as the dealer, but also as the banker, but not like poker where the dealer is the one that deals out the cards. East is just dealer in name only because we do not touch other people's tiles. That is a no-no. So everybody will pick their own tiles. Okay, I am going to break the wall. And the reason why we do this is to prevent cheating, because sometimes people have known to salt the deck and then East can get more jokers or more prime tiles. So you break the wall, and I got 4. Then the next East will be the person to my right, and that's south, and so you give the dice to them. I'm going to count 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then what I do is I take 4, and then I will push the wall out so other people will be able to pick their tiles. So I pick 4. Now, I'm the only one here, so I'm going to have to pick the tiles, but normally everybody picks their own tiles. 4 and 4 and 4. And you do this. So we have 2 tiles left. We push this wall out. And you want to put the tiles behind the rack. Don't put them in front of the rack, on the side of the rack. Things can get way too confusing that way. At this point, everybody will have 12 tiles. And now to start, East needs to start with 14 tiles, and then everybody else has 13 tiles. Now, normally there's a shortcut that you do where East will pick the first and the third one, and that'll be their extra tile. So let me show you how that happens. So that's just a shortcut. So without that shortcut, then East will pick their single tile, South picks theirs, West picks theirs, North picks theirs, and then East picks their 14th tile. So that's 14th tile is the third one on the top. In that way, when East picks 1 and 3 on the top, that's just a shortcut. Now everybody will put their tiles up on the rack. So everybody has their tiles. They've counted their tiles. And you always want to count your tiles every once in a while. So a couple things I want to say. When I'm putting the tiles in their rows, what I will do is I will take this white out, and I will mark, if you can see that right there, and that indicates that 19 tiles fit from here to here. And I do that so that we don't have to count each time. I do that particularly in tournaments. So when I'm East and I get players coming to my table, they don't have to count out the 19 tiles. And tiles are different widths. So, some with this rack, I have some tiles that go out to here, some even beyond if they're wider. So what I like about the whiteout is it easily comes off too. So you just scratch it off really easy. These are also vintage tiles, my 1970 triple lucite tiles. And what you never want to do, never, ever, 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 is use the paddles on these to mix them up. I'm very precious about my vintage tiles. And you never want to use paddles on, or mixers, whatever they're called, on other people's tiles either. That's bad manners. All right, so everybody has their 13 tiles. The other thing I want to say is this is the last wall because we go this way. We go clockwise when we're going through the walls as we play the game. And you want this part to be at the very end. Some people like to call this the dragon tail. And that way you don't get confused, like what wall needs to be pushed out and stuff like that. So this should be flush to the end here. All right, so with the Charleston is here to give you opportunity to be able to create a hand, to get to form a hand. And you're going to get 21 tiles to be able to create a hand that will get you closer to Mahjong. So in each pass during the Charleston, we pass 3 tiles, and the 3 tiles will be right, we pass to the right, then we pass over, and we pass left. And on the left, you can do a blind pass, or you can stop the first Charleston, and then you do left again, and you do over, and you do right, and on the last right, you can do a blind pass. And then after that, there's the optional across. So I'll demonstrate this. So it's right over left, left over right. And so the acronym for that is ROLLOR, ROLLOR. Right over left, left over right. Blind pass and stop on the first left, and just a blind pass on the last right, which I will go into the blind pass and what that is when we get to that. This is how I remembered it, is right over left, left over right. It's really not that hard. So we are going to do the first right. And what you want to do is with your tiles, you want to go through toward the grouping of the year hands, a grouping of the even hands, 2, 4, 6, 8, or the like numbers, consecutive run, etc. So that you don't want to go for a particular hand unless you have a really good hand that can do that. Right now, I'm not going to worry about building hands. I just want to demonstrate the mechanics of the Charleston. So everybody will pick 3 tiles and you pass them to your right. You put them right here. You don't put them up here or any odd place you want to put them as close to your next player to the right. So everybody will do their first right. And then everybody will look and see and put them in their hand where they belong. All right. So first right. Do you remember what the second pass is? Second pass is over. So then you will pick 3 tiles that don't move in a direction towards a grouping, and you will give those to the person that's over or across from you. And the other piece, let's see, is you cannot pass jokers in the Charleston. That is a no-no. So jokers cannot be passed in the Charleston at all. If somebody gives you a joker, you give it back to them and you say, oh, I don't think you meant to pass this. And it's a polite way of saying, you can't pass jokers. So, all right. So you give them to the people across, and they will absorb them in their hand and make decisions from there. And also in passing, which I'll get more into the strategy of the Charleston, is you really don't want to pass flowers. And you don't want to pass pairs. If you had a pair of flowers would be the worst, but a pair of 8 cracks or a pair, same suit, same number. You don't want to do that. So we did our across. Now we're going to be doing our first left. Pick 3 that do not help your hand and you go to the left. And I usually keep my 3 that I don't want on the end here, my discards. Whoops, to the left. Sometimes don't know my left from my right. And 3 to the left. And 3 to the left. So that's our first left. Now, everybody will absorb these tiles and they will look at their hands. And at this point, you can stop the Charleston. You have to do the first Charleston in full. That's a given. Now the second Charleston, somebody can stop the Charleston for any reason. You don't need to have any particular reason to stop the Charleston. Now the reason why you might want to stop the Charleston is if you had a hand, let's say that you just need 2 tiles to hit Mah Jongg. So you don't want to be giving away the other tiles that would break up your hand. So it's really if your hand is well developed. Sometimes beginners, they'll stop the Charleston if they're in between hands. That is not a good strategy to do that. It was Modern Mah Jongg. Dara and Donna, they did an informal survey and they found that people that stopped the Charleston, actually they oftentimes didn't hit Mah Jongg. So it's actually better to do both Charlestons. So if you're in between hands, then you want to go to the hand with the least resistance, the easiest hand, the one that you might be able to use jokers in, the one that may not have flowers or may not have pair if you don't already have them. So you want to go lean towards the hand of least resistance, and a lot of times that is the consecutive run area. And we'll go more into hands like that, but that's one way of how to choose which hand if you really are in between hands. And there's other factors that come into that too. That was our first left. And we could have chosen to do a blind pass. So what a blind pass is, let's say my hand is well developed, but I don't want to stop the Charleston and I only want to pass, let's say, 1 tile for whatever reason. So we're going to back it up to that first left. And gosh, I only have 1 tile that I want to pass. And so this person, they're going to give me, they've got 3 tiles, they're going to pass. So without looking, what I do is I pick 1 tile, I put it up, and then I pass the 3 over to the next person. And that's how the blind pass works. So you don't look at it, but if you look at it, there's unfortunately no penalty. It's just really bad form to do that. And I'll do another blind pass when we do the last, right? Maybe I'll do a couple of them because that can really get tricky. So that was our first left. And again, on the first left, you have an option to stop the Charleston, and you have the option to do a blind pass. So we're going to do the second left. I'm going to pick that. When you do a second left, you want to make a little pyramid like that, and that indicates that it's a second left. It helps people know where you're at, where the whole table is at. Sometimes when you get talking and stuff, it's like, where am I? I don't remember. Are we on? So you want to, and then absorbs this into their hands. All right, now we are going to do the across. All right, let's see. Pick that one and that one. No jokers. You cannot pass jokers. Across. Do these three. Across. We'll do these three as an across. And then everybody absorbs them into their hand. And you start seeing what is happening with your hand. So I will do some Charleston sprints. And so that's when we can talk more about hand development. That was our second across. And now we are doing our last right. And this is where we can do another blind pass. And we have a couple of folks that want to do a blind pass. So let's say this person here, they only want to pass one. And this person, they only want to pass two. All right, so then this person has to pass. And then this person has three to pass. So what will happen is this player will take one and keep two without looking, and then pass it here. And then this person, they need to pass three. So they take the three, they take two to make three. They put the one in there, and then they pass the three to there. And you want to absorb everything in the wrap, always in their rack. 2, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. And then they will absorb this into the rack. 14 and 13. So now what happens, it's the optional across, and the players across from each other, so east and west, they have an optional across. South and north have an optional across. And the amount of tiles that you pass across is the least number. So let's say I've got 3 to pass. I can pass 3. How many can you pass over there, West? And then West says, oh, gee, I only have 1. So that means then that East will only pick 1 tile, because whoever has it's the number, the least number is what you pass. So, okay, this one, I've got 3 to pass. How many do you have to pass, North? North says, oh, gee, I only have 2 to pass. So they pass 2, and then they pick 2, and they pass 2. So that's how the optional across works. And another important piece of information is you don't have to pass any. So you can pass 0, 1, 2, or 3. And that is the end of the Charleston. Always count your tiles to make sure you have the correct amount, and the game has not begun yet. So the game actually begins when East discards their tile. East happens to be East. And because they have 14 tiles, they discard before they don't pick. So now they have 13 tiles. And then we go counterclockwise. So now it is South. South picks. And then they discard. North. And the game has begun. And that is it for the Charleston. So if you have any questions or anything, just put your questions in the comments and I will answer them. So that is the Charleston.